Alright, so this lesson is 2.7, dividing integers with variables. First I'm going to do my I do. So the example that I have is it's negative 4x squared divided by 2x. Okay, so what I'm first going to do, I see that I have powers here. So what I want to do is I want to expand first. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 4x times x, because x squared expands as x times x, over 2x. Now, just like when you divide integers, you are going to look at your numbers or the coefficients first, and you're going to count your negatives. So I have one negative, so my answer is going to stay negative, because it's an odd amount. And then I have 4 divided by 2, and that just cancels out. Like this would be a 1 if I'm dividing by 2, this would be a 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and it stays in my numerator. Now, these variables that you see here, so like I have x divided by x. Well, any number divided by itself equals 1. So these x's here actually cancel. And what I mean by that, it equals 1. So x divided by x equals 1. So I don't need to include those with my answer. But I do have this x all by itself in the numerator, so I have to remember that that's now being multiplied by the 2 in the front. So that's my answer, negative 2x. So negative 4x squared divided by 2x simplifies as negative 2x. Alright, so let's have another example for an I do, and I have negative 10x cubed times y all over negative 15x squared. So once again, I have powers, so I'm going to want to expand. So I'm going to rewrite this as negative 10 times x times x times x, because x cubed is x times x times x, times y all over negative 15 x times x. So once again, what I'm first going to do is I'm going to count my negatives. So I'm dividing two negatives, so my answer is going to be a positive. And now I'm going to simplify 10 over 15, or 10 divided by 15. So what I'm going to think about is there a common factor of 10 and 15? Well, the common factor would be 5. So 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So I know that it's going to simplify as 2 over 3. Then I can divide my variables. X divided by x is 1. X divided by x is 1. I'm still left with xy, so then I can just put that in my answer. And it's going to be in the numerator because if you see, the x and y is in the numerator. It's in the top part of the fraction, so it needs to remain on the top part of my fraction or in my numerator. Alright, so we're going to do a we do, and I have Michelle here. Michelle's going to actually do it with me, so this is awesome. First time I have someone with me. We're going to do 10x squared divided by 2x over 3y. Okay, so I know this is a lot different from our I do problems, but we're going to work together with it, okay? So first of all, I notice that I'm dividing, right? And I have division of a fraction. So what do you know about dividing fractions? What are we actually going to do?
We multiply by the reciprocal.
Perfect. So I'm going to rewrite this as 10x squared, and I'm going to say that this is times the reciprocal of 2x over 3y is what?
3y over 2x.
Perfect. 3y over 2x. And then I could put a 1 underneath here too, correct? Very cool. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I notice that I'm multiplying these two fractions, and what I can do is I can expand because I still see some powers. So let's go ahead and let's expand that. So how would I expand 10x squared?
10 by 1 by x.
So 10 times
Yeah.
x times
X.
x over 1 times 3y over 2x. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and multiply those across. So 10x times x times 3y would be what? What's 10 times 3?
30.
30. And then x, x, y, we could rewrite, or we'll just keep it. X, x, y over 1 times 2x is 2x. All right, so now we actually have a division problem, right? Like the ones that we just saw from our I do. So we don't have any negatives, so it's not going to be a negative. It's going to remain positive. But we can divide our coefficients. So what's 30 divided by 2?
60.
Divided by 2.
Oh.
15, right? 30 divided by 2 is 15. And that's just over 1. And so we did that. That's a 15. That's a 1. And then what's x divided by x?
1.
1. So those cancel. And I'm just left with x, y, or x times y. So we could either leave our answer like this over 1, or we could actually simplify it to just be 15x, y. And then this would be our final answer. All right, so Michelle's here again, and we're going to do another we do. So we have 5xy over y divided by 2y over negative 10x cubed. It looks like it's going to be kind of a monster of a problem, but let's see what we would do. So, Michelle, what do you think the first thing you want to do is?
Well, every time we divide a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal.
Perfect. So let's rewrite this then. 5xy over y times, the reciprocal is going to be what?
Negative 10x.
And it's x to the third, right? So why
Yeah.
don't we do this? Why don't we expand it already, just to
Okay.
save a step, and maybe it will save us some time. And then we'll put that over what?
2y.
2y. All right, now we can multiply across, right?
Yes.
I notice that I have one negative, so that means that my answer is going to be negative. And then 5 times 10 is 50. And I have xy times x, x, x. So how many x's do I have?
4.
So x times x times x times x. There's 4 x's, and then there's one lonely
Y.
y. We'll put that over 2 y times y. All right. Now we have our original division problem, right? So I've got one negative, so my answer is going to stay negative. And then what can I divide?
2 and 50.
Right, so what is that going to turn into? That's going to be a 1. This is going to be a what? 25, because 50 divided by 2 is 25. So we'll put 25, and that's in the numerator. And then is there anything that I can cancel with my variables?
The y.
Yeah, so this 1y here, and then I can choose. I can either choose this y or I can choose that y. Which y would you like?
The left one.
This one?
Yeah.
So I'll just draw a line saying, okay, I'm canceling that y and that y because that equals 1. Y divided by y is 1. So now I'm looking to see what I have left over. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So how could I write that with exponents? X to the 4th power since I'm multiplying. And then I have 1y all by itself in the denominator. So my final answer is negative 25x to the 4th over y. All right, so last but not least, it's your turn. I'm going to give you two you do problems, and what I would like you to do is solve them in your notebook, take a picture, or you can solve them through Notability and send them in place of your quiz. But we have the first problem, negative 10x cubed y over 8x. So that's your first one. And then a little bit of a trickier problem, we're going to do 4. So here's 1, here's 2. 4 times x times y cubed divided by 2x squared over 4y. So go ahead and solve those, and then please make sure that you submit into Schoology.